Hello everyone, this is Dr. Valentin Rivera speaking again. We are going to go over an additional topic that we are going to find in Unidad 2A. Remember that although I am the one providing the explanation, this is very much the result of a collaboration between myself and Dr. Maria Teresa de Paoli. The two of us are working together in order to bring to you this course that is Spanish 531, Professional Spanish in Health and Human Services context to you fully online, fully asynchronous. All right, without further ado, what we're going to explore this time around is going to be the differences between por and para, okay, as both prepositions can be a little bit confusing at times. It will take some time for us to fully grasp them and truly use them accurately, whether we speak or we talk, we speak or we write. But that is to be expected. So be patient with yourself. Just keep quite a bit of practice. For that to happen, I suggest also that you check your book, specifically refer to pages 126 and 127. In there, you will find different acronyms in order to try to better remember the different uses of por and para, which, as I said, can be complex. They can really be complex, difficult to use, especially because many times we are going to see that the tendency is to go for the default equivalent, which will be for in English. However, we are going to have here some pointers as to when to use which. We are going to be basing it on acronyms. Before we get there, I would like to mention that the acronyms are presented here are different from those presented on the book. Not the one or the other is more efficient. They're just different ways to perceive them, although the rules are basically the same. So just go for whichever you find more appealing or easier to remember or understand, and you will be all set. Before we go over each of the uses, it's important to remember that there are some expressions, set expressions, that already work as such, right? We just need to remember them. That will be the case, for instance, of por favor, in which case will be the equivalent of please. We'll never say para favor. It will always be por favor. So those are not interchangeable. We also have por el momento, for now. Again, it's a set expression. It doesn't change, therefore. We'll never use para favor. Para el momento. All right. With that in mind, we have here, we can link the use of para with the acronym perfect. And perfect will refer to purpose, which will be the equivalent of in order to. Effect, the impact that something has on something else. Recipient, future dates, deadlines, or events. Employment, comparison, and toward a specific place. We're going to see all these uses with examples so we can more easily remember and understand. All right. When it comes to purpose, we can ask the question para qué, right? For instance, why are we studying? Why are we going to college? Well, estudio una carrera para tener un mejor trabajo. I am completing a career or a degree in order to have a better job. So as we can see here, that is the link with purpose, para, which in English would translate as in order to. Very important. Right after we use it, we need to keep our verb in the infinitive form. Now, when it comes to effect, which is going to be basically the impact that something has on something else, we can actually link it to the previous example, right? I am working on a degree. I am completing a degree in order to get a better job or better job opportunities. At the same time, a better job can be a good option to get more money or to earn more money. So in that sense, we are here linking two ideas, the consequence of one over the other, right? So we are very much talking about the effect or impact that having a better job can have. And that's when we are also going to use para. Un mejor trabajo es una buena opción para ganar más dinero. When it comes to recipient, we can think of the question para quién, and at the same time, we can also associate it with some sort of gift, right? For instance, during Christmas, we give quite a bit of gifts to each other. That also applies to birthdays. So in this context, we can say something like, este regalo es para ti. This present is for you. Future. Specifically, when it comes, for instance, to deadlines, we see that in this example. La entrega del workbook 1 es para el 16 de septiembre. It needs to be turned in by, right? September the 16th. Employment. I used to work for Texas Tech, okay? So I could say trabajaba para Texas Tech. Back then I would have said trabajo para Texas Tech. Nowadays I actually work for K-State, so this will be more like trabajo para Kansas State University, right? Whenever we are referring to our employer, that's when we're going to use para. Comparisons. This is always kind of like keeping in mind that, all right, that will be our translation here. Para hacer un iPhone 3G está en muy buenas condiciones. Keeping in mind or considering that this phone, this iPhone, is a 3G, is in really good condition, right? So that's when the comparison comes in. Because compared to other iPhone 3Gs, then most of those are going to be in bad shape because they are dated. But this one in particular that I'm talking about, compared to all those other ones, is in really good shape. So we can say something like, para ser tan joven es muy maduro. Considering that he's so young in age, he's really mature. All right, so that's going to be our comparison right there. To a specific place, as in the destination. Su avión va para Ecuador. We can see here this guy is getting ready to travel, and we know that his plane is going to, as in the final destination, Ecuador. All right, in the same way that we have these acronyms for the use of para, we can also relate the acronym attracted just with one T when it comes to the use of por. Okay, so A is going to stand for around a place. T is going to stand for through a place. R is going to stand for reason. Second A is going to stand for author. C is going to stand for cost. T is going to stand for thanks. E is going to stand for exchange. Last but not least, D is going to stand for duration. All right, let's look at some examples. Around, close by, right? Hay un banco por aquí. Is there a bank around here or close by? Through, a place, of course. We have an example here. Paso por el parque todos los días para ir a la universidad. That is, we're going to start backwards. On my way to campus, I walk through, right? Or, yeah, through or by. It could be either or. In this case in particular, it's through the park every day. As in, that is not my final destination, okay? I'm walking through it, maybe in order to cut some of the time that it would take me to get to campus. I know here that my final destination is campus. Why? Because we are using para, just like in the example of Ecuador. El avión va para Ecuador. All right. Reason, ¿por qué? We can answer that to that question with por. ¿Por qué llegaste tarde? Why do you arrive late? Por el tráfico. Because of the traffic. So that will be our equivalent here in English because of por. Author. Cien años de soledad fue escrito por Gabriel García Márquez. So it will be the equivalent of by. 100 Years of Solitude was written by Gabriel García Márquez. Cost. Pagué 20 euros por esta chaqueta. I paid 20 euros for this jacket. Thanks. When we express gratefulness, we're always going to use por. Gracias por la ayuda. Exchange. Quiero cambiar estos zapatos rojos por esos negros. I want to exchange these red shoes for those black ones from over there. And duration. He vivido aquí por más de 10 años. I have lived here for more than 10 years. So in here, as you can see, right, we see an example of the present perfect, which is also one of the grammatical topics that we are covering in Unit 2A. So I suggest that you go and look for the tutorial linked on or focus on the present perfect if you need a little bit of a review. But we are going to see that por is very frequently used with this tense. All right. I hope that this has helped. And again, thank you for your attention.